There's no other way to say it. This is a gross situation.
Hey guys, I'm Chris with the Silver Symbol channel. This house had a major issue. Now I've shared a couple of videos with you guys about how this house had mice. It also even had bats. Several of the owners of this place were using it as a type of vacation home, and that's pretty much an invitation for those kind of pests to come in your house and do all kinds of damage. Now if you've got a pest problem, remediating damage is not your first step. You've got to stop those things from getting in. So I'd encourage you to watch those early videos. They infiltrated two different parts of my house. One was the attic above my garage. The other was underneath an addition. This is what I've been affectionately calling the pit of hell. But unfortunately here, they've been poisoning the mice. Those things would eat the poison, of course, come in the house and die. They probably do some other stuff before that happened. And as you can see, I've got all kinds of remnants. Now you're probably thinking, toughen up, who cares about a couple of dead mice? Until you look upwards and see the insulation under the room. And that isn't black mold. They were crawling along the rafters and getting up into the insulation. There's their dirt, fur, all sorts of other stuff that you can guess. And unfortunately, this insulation was like a disgusting bed for probably dozens of these mice. So originally, my plan with this space, knowing that I got rid of the mice, was to pull all the insulation down and bag it up. But as I started to look at it, I realized this was pretty nasty stuff. And if you read online, some of this debris and material can get into your lungs. It's not healthy. Stuff can float around the house. And if you've ever tried to put insulation into trash bags, you're able to get like 2 or 3 pieces if you cram it into a bag. But the problem here is I only had this little access door. That means that I couldn't easily even get the bags out. But that's when I started looking for a safer way to do this. They're usually pulling out that loose kind of cellulose fiberglass. These were solid pieces of insulation. They're also called bats, and I've never seen a machine that could pull one of these things out in its entirety. And then I discovered a website. This company is called Insulation Machines. They claim they have this crazy machine that could literally suck up the insulation right out of my crawl space. Now doing this has a bunch of awesome advantages. If you're putting a tube through your entire house right to the point of the gross insulation, you're going to draw it right out like a vacuum cleaner. But the exhaust, debris, all of that stuff goes right into the hose. That means none of it will be airborne in your space. It should be healthier. I was really skeptical because the idea of sucking up something huge like a piece of insulation without clogging just seemed impossible. They were 100% confident that this thing would be perfect for this space. So I ended up coordinating and hiring them along with this company called Critter Control out of New Hampshire, and they came to my house with this crazy looking contraption. It's got a giant vacuum cleaner bag in the back, and it's got this huge impeller. Now I asked him over and over, how is this thing not going to clog when it's sucking up this insulation? And his answer was the engine is huge. This model runs on gasoline. I think it's around 30 horsepower, but he claimed that would be no problem. This machine has so much power that in this demo here you can see it just sucks the insulation right up. Now the guys aren't really there for safety. It's because when the insulation goes through the machine, it has so much force, the hoses can kind of bounce around and you've got to kind of hold onto them. And if you're wondering, how did I know that those pests were only in 2 areas of my house? I'm going to give you that answer at the end of the video where it will make a little bit more sense. They taped off areas, they put in HEPA cleaners. They're going to have one of their techs be up there feeding insulation into the machine. Now for safety reasons, they didn't want me in the space, so I tried to get some video of it, but instead I did this test on the ground so you could see exactly what these guys are doing. It sucked this hat up like it was nothing, and it went right into the machine and essentially got ground up. But this is the real test. These are fiberglass bats. These ones are R19, and they are super thick, but the machine can handle up to R30, which is 8-inch thick insulation. That's pretty much the thickest stuff that you're going to have in any residential home. This machine was literally eating the whole thing up. Insulation, debris, and you know what else is in there. They were done with my entire attic in about 25 minutes. But before I show you the finished result, we needed to go down and finish the pit of hell. Now this space is absolutely nasty. These guys told me this was not nearly as bad as many areas they have seen, but when they started to pull down the insulation, one of the techs told me something different. There was all kinds of debris in there, mice, dead stuff, not good things for your house. Now if you've got your home vacuum, you know those things clog from just about anything. You could suck up a cotton ball and they get clogged, but somehow this machine had no problems at all. And after just a few hours, let's take a look at the spaces. I'll start with the attic. All of my insulation is gone. All of the debris is gone. In fact, as I looked around, I didn't see anything. The attic now looks brand new. But the bigger transformation is, of course, the crawl space. Now when I go in here, you'll see a couple of things. First off, you notice that hose in the floor. That's actually part of a radon system. Once these guys were done bringing all that debris down, you can imagine parts of it would hit the floor. But fortunately, I had that vapor barrier. I told them just to fold everything up, put it in a trash bag, and take it away. And then take a look at the space. This area now looks brand new. All of the junk is gone, and even that wood that you see in the top, you might think that's kind of staining from the pests. That's actually staining from the floor and the glue that was used. Now, unfortunately, the job is not over. Most people, if they hire a company like this, will have them do everything. That means once the dirty stuff is out, they're going to sterilize the space, and then they will even replace the insulation. I'm going to do the sterilization myself, and additionally, I will replace the insulation myself. For me as a homeowner, I could not be happier with this service. Now, I know everybody watching this video is going to say, how much did it cost? What will you need to spend? It's really going to vary depending on the job. If you're in a situation where you've got gross insulation and a limited access area, reach out to Insulation Machine, see if they have a dealer, and you can get this kind of technology to get your problem area cleaned up. And last, for the bonus question, how did I not think there were mice in other parts of the house? 40 years ago when they built this place, the original owners really wanted to make this a fairly high-tech house for the day. They didn't want to use any fiberglass insulation. So I don't have any fiberglass in my basement, my walls, even below my roof. They opted to build this entire house out of a product called a structured insulated panel. That is essentially a sandwich. They take foam insulation and they have plywood on one side and wallboard on the other. So the house kind of assembles like Legos, but the good thing for pests is there's not really anywhere for them to live. The fiberglass insulation you saw in the video was actually done during renovations. Normally, I will do anything myself just to avoid calling somebody in, but in this case, I really feel it was the right decision. But if you've ever had this happen to you, be sure to comment below. Let me know how you handled it, or your thoughts on this video, what you might have done differently to maybe make the job go even better.